Okay, let's talk about voiced and voiceless sounds, and this will help us as we try to pronounce S, ES, and ED endings. If you put your hand on your throat and you say P, T, K, F, Th, S, Sh, Ch, those sounds will not vibrate your vocal cords. They are made more in your mouth, and the vocal cords in your throat do not vibrate. But voiced sounds, if you put your hand on your throat, you will hear or you will feel vibration, and you will hear the voiced sounds. B, B, D, G, V, and so on. Okay, so let's listen to those, and you can hear the different sounds, voiceless and voiced.
Rules and Practice, page 19. Voiceless. P, T, K, F, Th, S, Sh, Ch. Voiced.
B, D, G, V, Th, Z, J, J.
Okay, and there are a few more sounds that we'll listen to.
Rules and Practice, page 19. Voiceless. H. Voiced.
Ng. O. W. Y.
Okay, so you should hear and feel the difference between voiceless and voiced sounds. Another way to hear the difference is to use a tissue and hold it up, and when you say a voiceless sound, there will be a lot of air coming out of your mouth, like p, ath, path, path. When you say path, it blows a lot of air out. You're holding that p. When you open and let that p come out, it blows a lot of air out, and so you'll see and feel the tissue move. Time, came, few. There's more movement of this, and less so with few, but definitely path, time, came. These are called aspirated consonants, and these are pronounced with a lot of escaping of air all at once, whereas voiced sounds like bath, dime, game, view, there are less that you can hold the sound for a long time, but it doesn't explode out. There's not that quick sound of escaping air. So if you see Rule 3.1, at the beginning of words, voiceless, the answer is voiceless. Voiceless consonants are pronounced with the sound of escaping air, and that's called aspiration. So listen one more time, and you'll hear, especially with p, t, and k, you'll hear that explosion of sound and an explosion of air. P, t, and you'll see, if you use a tissue, you'll see that tissue move with these voiceless sounds and those aspirated consonants.
Initial voiceless and voiced consonants. Page 20.
Path, bath, time, dime, came, game, few, view.
Okay, let's talk about how this affects the ED ending. When you have a voiceless sound like k at the end of a sentence, like work, then the ed, when you add it and you're talking about past tense, like yesterday they worked hard, what sound does that make? Let's listen and we'll discuss.
Pronouncing the ED ending. Page 33.
A. They worked hard.
They worked hard. It makes more of a T sound. Even though it's spelled ED, it makes that T sound. So voiceless sounds, when verbs end in voiceless sounds like K, the ED sounds like the voiceless T. So worked. Now let's look at another sound.
B. The labs closed at 8.
Okay, look at letter B. The labs closed at 8. What sound does that ED make? It makes a D sound. Closed. Closed. So we have a voiced sound here. Close. Close. And then the ED is added and it sounds like a voiced D. Closed. So that's the second rule. There's kind of 3 rules here. If a verb ends in voiceless sounds, like K, then your ED will sound like a T. T. Worked. If the verb ends in a voiced sound, like close, then the ED sounds like a D. Closed. Closed. And then the last one, let's listen to that.
C. I waited for the bus.
Okay. You'll see letter C, I waited for the bus. Now we've added a syllable, and so that's this third one. You don't need to know the notation or whatever. Just listen to the sounds. We've added a syllable. Wait. Wait is 1 syllable, and then we add another syllable. Waited. Now we have 2 syllables. So for a word that ends in T or D, we add a syllable. So wait becomes waited, add becomes added. And so we're adding a syllable at the end when we're making those past tense ED endings. So those are the 3 options. It'll either be a T sound, a D sound, or an added syllable and an id sound. And these are the rules. If the verb ends in a voiceless sound like K, the ED sounds like the voiceless T. And again, the exceptions are if it's T or D at the end. If the verb ends in a voiced sound, Z, then the ED will add and sound like a D. If the verb ends in a T or D, then you'll add a syllable.